And we are live. We have Brad Chapman, vocal pre-producer, and Imani Legend, singer. Are you a singer, songwriter, or just singer?
Singer, songwriter.
All right. I see it there now at the bottom. Today, Brad knows Imani, and so this isn't one where how I normally just throw Brad under the bus with a singer and say go. But first, RIP to Muhammad Ali. The Pensado Awards are coming up. It's $50. Get online. Y'all bet last year they sold out. The VKLA Pensado Gear Expo is coming up. That's June 11th. That's free. You guys might want to go to that. Thank you. Let's see. And then we have the Mentors Lab coming up. A lot of times we go to events. People sit on panels. Industry guests sit on panels. You have all these Grammy winners sitting on panels, and they're explaining stuff and answering questions. Now what we've added is, if you can imagine those same people coming, meeting you at a studio, and you work on songs from scratch. You record, you write, record, and we mix the songs at a professional studio. And these guys from the industry come in and help so that you actually do work with them. There's one thing where you're sitting and somebody's giving a dissertation and you're learning, and there's another where you're working side by side doing stuff with them. And so that's the first, we're calling it the Mentors Lab. The first one is June 9th and 10th at Steelman Studios in Van Nuys, California. And then the next, and then right after that, we're all going to the VKLA Pensado Gear Expo the next day. The Mentors Lab is 2 days from 12 in the afternoon till 12 midnight on the 9th, and then from 12 in the afternoon till 12 midnight on the 10th. And that's all I can think of right now. So, Brad, would you please introduce Imani, and it's all yours.
Okay. Imani is in New York right now, but she lives in San Francisco, and a producer of hers introduced us. He brought her down to my studio, and I met him and her, and we did the one session live. And then since then, we've been doing it over Google Hangout, generally once a week. So I'm pretty familiar with her, where most of the Hangouts I'm not, but I think this is still going to be very interesting because it will show what I do on a weekly basis with an artist and why they grow so quickly. Because she's already, got some basic premises down of what I do, and she's already got some of them memorized. But still, like I say on my web page, I've improved the best, and so anyone I can improve. And it's just a matter of me working with them, and you'll be able to see that with Imani, because she's already a good singer. The old saying is, good singers don't need any help. Well, producers help their singers all the time. That's true in the industry. People don't know about that. They sit in there in the booth and they bring out the best emotion they can from the artist. Some of them are better than others. One of the most common things I hear from producers is they just try to make the artist comfortable, and then they hope there's going to be feel there, and then that's what they record is emotional expression. That's what they want to hear on the recording. They don't want to hear, they'd love to hear good pitch and good tone and lots of range, but that's only 10 to 20% of what they say they're really looking for. What they're really looking for is your individual emotional persona being recorded. And so what I do, and the reason I came up with the term vocal pre-producer and why Imani's working with me, is so that she's ready to go in the studio. And she just had a recent experience. I'll let her tell you it, but she knows what to look for in a producer, and she hired one, thinking that he was what I'd taught her. But hi, Brian. But it's okay. You're just real quiet. Where was I? Anyway, so then she actually went to record with the producer, and like I said, I'll let her explain that. But artists being prepared for the recording sessions is really powerful. Some people believe it. Others just, hey, if they got talent, I'll record them. If they don't, I won't. And as Mott said many years ago, well, what about us, those that can't get that talent? But even that talent can be improved by pre-production. It's rehearsal for live. I mean, you rehearse for live performance, right? And if you have a stage coach, or if you have a vocal coach, or if you have someone like me who works on emotional expression via vocal technique, then you want to be ready for that show. You want to be totally committed to that show, know everything about that show, and not go up worrying about any problems that are going to come up. So I saw the niche here in the producer's world, where they're trying to record people who are not ready, and it's very frustrating for both the artist and the producer. And so I'm in between. I'm a facilitator. I make sure that the artist I work with understands what the producer wants from them, and I make sure I know what the producer wants from them. And as a team, the artist, of course, being the one with the last word, come up with what's going to be magic in the studio before we even start tracking. And I do it every day with various people, and people who work with me, when they can afford it, stay with me for a long time. Producers continue to use me. And so that's kind of what today's going to be a little bit like. It's going to be just a little bit different. So Imani, tell them what happened. How many times did you work with me, do you think, before you went to that producer?
Oh man, we've worked a million times. I don't know. We worked a lot of times before I even went to the producer, but you've always told me when I go into a session, if they try to change me and I'm not with that, I can, voice that opinion. And so I met this guy over Facebook, and he seemed to really know his stuff, and so I met with him a couple times, and the first couple times he seemed like everything I've been looking for in a producer. And once we started to actually start collabing and working, he completely tried to change my sound, and I was not okay with that. He tried to steal some of the words I wrote in my music and say, well, I'm going to just use this for my rappers or whatever. And I'm just like, no, this is my art. I took it, I thought it was like false advertisement. He said, he'll work with any artist that'll do just to get them to where they need to go. And I was always excited. He lived an hour away from where I was, and so I was always willing to drive out there to get work done. And I felt like every time I went to work on a project, we were arguing, going back and forth on how I wanted my sound to be. And I kind of feel like that was unprofessional, and I didn't enjoy that. I know that going to the studio was a place of business, have everything done and ready, but it was always an argument, and I'm not going to fight over my work. Like, I know what I want, and I know what my sound is, and I learned a lot from Brad and what to expect with different studios and producers.
So were you able to express any emotions or feel under those conditions?
Yes, but no. Anytime I tried to express anything to him, he was a know-it-all, so he knew everything according to himself. So I couldn't tell him anything about, Brad or myself. He already had answers. So I couldn't even explain anything, express anything.
Well, what about when you were singing? Were you able to get anything on record that had emotion on it?
I did. I had a lot of things recorded that I felt had a lot of emotion and would have brought a feel for the crowd, but because of the circumstances and everything got erased and deleted. So. Oh
no.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
You wouldn't even give it to me.
Congratulations for even being able to do that under those circumstances.
Yeah. It was hard, but
I expected
everything.
You to say, no, I didn't feel anything when I sang.
I did, because I was so excited about my music, but it just didn't work out, sadly.
So these are the kind of producers generally most singers that are artists don't want to work with. Now, if the singer is more of a what's known as a performer, obviously artists perform, but performer doesn't have his own opinion, his or her own opinion. They don't have their opinion. They take the opinion from whoever. You know, best example I know of, if you guys want to watch this, just go to YouTube and type in Katherine Jenkins, and then the name Angel, the song Angel. She is a product, obviously, when you watch it, of a voice teacher, a choreographer, uh, probably super expensive hair beauty guy, and makeup. And in other words, it is virtually the most perfect thing I've ever seen, and the most boring I've ever listened to or seen. Because all her facial expressions and everything, it's like she isn't there. Mott mentioned a couple of weeks ago on a hangout that he feels that way about Rihanna. Oh, hi, Ebony. So,
There's I can't remember which Rihanna song it was. I mean, there's certain Rihanna songs that I really feel her, and then there were certain things I was like, nah, there's nothing. But I mean,
yeah,
like, I really like Rihanna.
yeah,
Rihanna's actually one of the people I like. But sometimes some of the performances, I feel nothing.
so we'd have to be there to know what happened, but we can possibly guess that maybe she wasn't into it. She was just doing what she was told. I've heard that with Katy Perry. There's really only a couple of songs that have been famous that I've heard that I really felt she was into, and one was that da, 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 da.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Luke produced it, and I think that's got a lot of feel to it. But then like Roar is like musical theater. Very obvious. It's all an act, and Fireworks has some of that feel to it too, especially when she's standing on the rooftop, bending back like this, and
Right.
it just doesn't look like what a real human being would do. And generally speaking, I think we can all agree that records are meant to sound real, not like movies. So I tend to watch more TV to relax than I do music, because music I listen to it all day, and I tend to critique it when I don't want to. But TV, I don't have much to critique because I don't understand it that well. I know some of the tricks that they pull, but I don't know, everything they're doing. So I can just sit there and just kind of, meditate and watch the story. But records are meant to be listened to, and we were just talking, me and one of my clients about, even though videos out there, still a lot of times people are just listening to the audio, because they're wearing they got their iPhone and their whatever, and they've got their earbuds in, or they're in the car. So there's places that you can't watch video, and I know you can watch it on your iPhone, but if you're walking around, multitasking, and you just want something, in your ears to listen to, then it's still got to be real, is my point. The performance of the musicians or the computers or the singer have to have some real art to them before the video's done. So we're really talking about basics of live performing and recording. And, obviously I can sound like I'm overstating something, but really pre-production starts the first time we decide we're going to be a singer or a musician or a producer or any of that stuff, because everything you do up to the point of tracking or being on that stage affects that performance. So, and like Maz said, we hear a lot of speakers. We're Grammy members, so we can watch a lot of videos and go to events and listen to them talk. And it's really kind of hard to get much out of that, because they just tell us their experiences, and they don't really tell us exactly how it happened or what they actually did. Probably don't have time. And I've noticed a lot of songwriters, for instance, even though there's a lot of songwriting courses out there, both live and on video, that none of these famous songwriters say that they ever took one of them. Now, I don't know if that's because they think it's embarrassing or they just never did. But their answer when somebody says, well, how did you write that song, is, I don't know. I just sat down and I got my ideas and I put them down and I kept working with it until I liked it, and now it's a hit. But, you know, and the honest ones will say, you know, but there's another 1,000 I wrote that weren't. So it seems like it's again, even for the songwriter, it's time equals success. And as long as you're loving what you're doing, then, you know, there's no reason to be frustrated about where you believe your success is at the time. Okay. Mott, do you have any particular ideas of what you want me to do with Imani? You are the host.
Well, first, I had to go back and look up the Rihanna songs. When Rihanna first came out, there was a song, Unfaithful, and I thought it was a masterpiece. And then the song Work came out, and I thought it was utter garbage. And everybody, there's a lot of people around me who were loving this song, and so I'm sitting there thinking, okay, am I my parents now? Where new music comes out, and I'm sitting here going like this. But then, like, as I dive into what songwriting is, and how good songwriting can be, like I said, Work. I look at it, and to me, it's a piece of garbage, and you know that's how I see it. And but then you have songs like Unfaithful and Russian Roulette. I think was another one. Where somebody obviously really put some work into it and understands the craft. What would I like you guys to do? Well, I'm not really sure what you guys have done. Can I hear some of the lyrics of one of your songs? Would you sing for us, Imani?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to start, because that's the way I start. I always ask my client to sing something, and then we go from there.
Okay. Should I sing what we had been working on, Brad?
Sure.
Okay.
And you don't have to sing the whole song. It's, you know, you can do about maybe half of it. Really give Mott an impression of who you are and what you sing.
Okay. All right. So what I'll do is I'm going to take my earphones out so you guys can hear me better.
Yeah, we won't be able to hear the music with your...
Yeah, just give us an acapella.
Oh, that's cool too, yeah. Either way.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll sing a little bit of my song that we've been working on called In the Club.
Yeah.
And here it goes. Okay. When I walk in the club, they showing me love. Don't be mad, I see you staring at me. I'm just looking around and without a doubt, I can tell you kinda hating on me. But if you like what you see, no need for jealousy. Come on, y'all, drinks on me. Enjoy this party with me. You have the right to choose. Turn up or just look confused. The choice is up to you. Do what you gotta do. I can't let nobody stop me from doing things that I want to do, how I want to do, when I want to do. I came here to enjoy my time. You got Patron in your cup and I got mine. Feeling real good, I freed up my mind. Don't give a damn about nobody. I came here to enjoy my time. You got Patron in your cup and I got mine. Feeling real good, I freed up my mind. Don't give a damn about nobody. Do I stop there?
Yeah, that's good. Show people your low D. You go So just sing. No, down an octave. You know that real sultry low voice you have? Yeah, there we go. So the reason I had her do that was so you could see she's a contralto. That's one of the reasons her voice is pretty full. And when she's singing her A's and B flats, it's very easy for her because she's using belted head voice. You don't see the strain, you don't see the frustration. You just see someone kind of moving a little bit and singing their lyrics, you know. So, do you have a question first, Mott?
Yeah. That. Would you say that was a D? A low D?
Yeah. It'd be called D3.
Do you have anything where you sing in that range, Imani?
I do. I have to figure out what's.
Because when you went or whatever you did, there was a fullness, a richness, and a naturalness to that. Where it's like you wouldn't be out of breath. You're relaxed singing it. I'd love to hear you sing something in that voice, which I know a lot of women don't like to because they say they feel like a man. But watching Roots the other night, and I was looking from one of our Pensadian brothers. He's actually on there, and this lady started singing, and this rich, deep voice came on, and I looked up and said, I want to do some of that. It gave me a certain feeling automatically. So yeah, if you got anything where you sing in that type of tone, can I hear it?
Okay, let me.
As you know, you can make it up.
I prefer singing loud. I actually prefer singing low more than I sing high. I actually don't enjoy singing in a high voice at all. I think it's quite nice to sing in the lower tones and the lower ranges. Yeah. I find it easier as well, to be fair.
That's Ebony Rose over in England.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, so let us hear you sing something in that lower voice.
I'm trying to look through my lyrics to see if I have anything in a low voice. I don't.
You can make it up. You
what
can
about
sing
that? Yeah, you can make
something up.
Didn't we do a Beyonce song that went on? That seemed to almost go.
Oh, we did. We did. We were singing Halo.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try.
You may need to
remember those walls.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me try it. Remember those walls I built, baby, they're tumbling down. That is so low.
See, that's an E. So
I've got to get more comfortable.
Yeah.
Remember those walls I built, baby, they're tumbling down. I couldn't even put up a fight. Didn't even make. I can't go that low.
You just did.
Not working out.
It's about to be real low, huh?
Hey, Robert.
Not working out.
You should be comfortable with it.
Yes.
You should make yourself comfortable with it. I swear to you, because the best thing about being able to sing low is that not many people at all can do it.
Yep.
Like, there is only like the odd few that can, especially as a girl. Yeah. So that will make you like just that little bit unique to any other artist that's out there.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of girls like that I'm like, even in uni and majority of the girls are standing next to me trying to figure out how to sing low. They can't do it. So
one of the things about singing somebody else's song is until you rearrange it for yourself, you're boxed in. Like when you get somebody's beat, you're boxed into that. Whereas if we sat and we wrote a song specifically for you, it would be within your naturalness. And I understand. That's why, like, a lot of times I'll get with singers and say, no, just sing, make it up right now. Sing to Brad and tell him how wonderful he is. That type of thing. And then people, just make it up as they go and, just have a conversation. It's easy. But okay.
Okay.
Welcome, Robert Beal. We have Brian, Keith, and we have Ebony Rose who have joined us. You and Brad have already worked on songs together. Brad, when you have a singer and you're trying to get them to go and get comfortable with their lower voice, because what do you do? Because I know a lot of people want to go high when and get away from the lower tone. What do you do to get them comfortable?
Well, a lot of people really can't sing that low. I mean, it's a physiology thing, it's like trying to make a guitar sound like a bass guitar.
Okay.
The strings on the bass guitar are much bigger and thicker than the strings on the guitar. So even though they can overlap in notes, the bass can get way up to the top of its fretboard and maybe play some notes that would be on the guitar, they don't sound like a guitar. And especially when they go down to the low E, or if they've tuned down to D, or if it's MIDI and they're pumping out B flats out of the 505s or whatever, E flats or E's. That's because they can do that on the computer. But we are organic, and we were born with a set length genetically of vocal cords. Some people like to call them vocal folds, but I'm not trying to be a scientist here. I'm trying to help you all understand. And the vocal cord is the most common term. And and you can look up on the internet. There's a lot of stuff on vocal cords. So anyway, don't need to say anything more about that. But we all have a different size of windpipe. We all have a different length of vocal cords. We all have a different strength of vocal cords or flexibility of vocal cords. And we also all of us have different resonating chambers, which is the mouth. The mouth and the teeth are what we hear when people sing to us. And I make a funny out of head voice because, singers say, oh, the sound's coming out here. Well, the microphone proves that that's not true. They're feeling it and that's why the Italians call it head voice. They're feeling the vibrations, but they're not coming out here unless you actually do an M or an N or an NG. So if I go, yeah, it's coming right out here. I can feel it. But as soon as I open my mouth, you see, I get quieter. Now if I go to a head voice, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's nothing coming from there. It's yeah, 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 yeah. So I feel it here, but it's coming out here. So to shorten the answer to your question, it is about relaxation. It is about letting those vocal cords vibrate slowly without excess air pressure. And so it's Ebony was right on, and actually Imani will tell you we've talked about this. I think it's something she should write some songs with, definitely.
I will.
Because it is unique, and it is liked. Tenors sing there all the time and have big hits. They basically sing from C or D to like your A's or B flats. So it's not uncommon for people to love recordings that have those notes in them, whether it be a man or a woman. Doesn't necessarily matter. The one thing that's kind of can be problematic with the low note is if you're in your car and there's a lot of noise around you, low notes tend to get buried in the mix, so to speak, the mix of the music and all of the sound going around. But they all have different ways. Each producer and engineer have different ways of dealing with things to make that happen. And the stereo equipment in our cars are much better now, so it's not near the problem it was. But basically, like for instance, I had my first real voice teacher was, I think, a little nuts, because she had me doing this exercise where I'd go down chromatically. I'm a baritone, so I'm comfortable on a G. But then she would say, okay, I want you to go, So am I hitting the note? Yes. Is there any tone there? Absolutely. Is it worth anything? No. Now I've had basses come in where I've tried to demonstrate for them in their range. I sound like a fool, because when they sing it, it's like, and it would be the same thing if I was Imani's coach and I was a mezzo soprano. It would be very hard for me to demonstrate in her lower range, because that's something that she was born with that cannot be taught. It can be developed, but it cannot be taught. So if you're working with a mezzo soprano, they usually bottom out around A3. If you're working with high high soprano or a coloratura, they usually bottom out around C4 or B3. And if you're working with an alto, they'll usually bottom out around G or F3. And then in the case of the contraltos, some of the, I have another contralto I'm working with that doesn't go quite as low as Imani. She's not quite as comfortable, but she'd still be called a contralto. And she'll go down to F's and E's pretty comfortably, but she can't go to this note. It just disappears. There's just nothing to it to listen to. So when people say, "Oh, I can train your low voice," yes, I can train your low voice. I can't train you to be Imani unless you were born with the same pipes.
Okay, Imani, when that song that you sang, it sounded like you went, back in the day I would say multi-genre, but I heard swing type hip hop thing, and then I heard this spiritual gospel old Negro spiritual type thing when you went, I think it was to the hook or something. Would you tell me about that song that you sang?
Okay, the song In the Club, the first song that I sang?
Yes.
Well, basically, it's just like a party song. Feel good, you know, no drama. And the way I like to write my music is I may start, like the first verse may be really slow, and then the second verse may be really fast and crazy. I don't know, I'm real different when it comes to my writing, and that's kind of what you heard in my In the Club song. Like, I'll have a soulful part, or I'll go hard on one part. It's just really different, and I'm just a different type of artist. Like, I don't know, I want to showcase different things that probably haven't been showcased yet in the music industry.
When you're writing a song, say that song, what are you basing your changes on? Are you changing just to be cool? Or are you changing?
Just how I feel.
Huh?
It just goes on to like how I feel. I actually wrote this song without a beat, and so when I was, you know, fishing out different beats, this one went perfect with it. You guys didn't hear the beat, but the beat that I chose, it went perfect with it. And so I do those different changes just based on how I feel at that time when I'm singing it. And if it sounds great, I keep it. If not, I have no problem with changing it.
Okay. Now, me as the producer.
Right.
I was just going to tell you, Imani, he's a producer.
Yeah. When you say that, like earlier you said, producers will change you, I would automatically start the process, of changing what you're doing, or having you take a look at what you're doing to evaluate for yourself,
right,
what would be a better choice, or how you're making your choices. Example, right. If an artist says to me, I do it just because I feel it, or blah blah blah, if they have a feel that's working, where it's moving the audience the way that you would want the audience to be moved, what's best for the song, it's like, hey, even if they don't understand it, it's working. But other than that, when I look at songwriting, I look for intentional moves. Like, right now, whoever's listening is supposed to be sad, and then right here they're supposed to get a little anxious, and then we actually control them. Okay. What was the lyric that first line that you had sang? What was that? Would you say it for me? Not sing it, say it so I can actually understand what you were talking about.
Okay, so it says, when I walk in the club, they showing me love. Don't be mad, I see you staring at me.
Who you don't want to be mad? Your ex?
Just people in general, because it's been real life times. I'll walk in, like when I used to, in my party days, I'd walk in and people are just mad at me or just mad at my friends, and I don't understand why. Like, why can't we just get together and have fun with no drama? That's basically what the song is about. Just having fun. In one part of the song, I said, "No need for jealousy. I'll buy your drinks. It's good. Like, let's just enjoy the time." Because when people go to clubs, they're so focused on like just the negativity. I just want to have fun.
So y'all walk into the club and y'all will be so fly that people will start hating.
I hate that.
It's happened before.
I get
Well,
it.
there's jealousy, like if they think you look better than them or you're getting more attention than them, they'll get mad,
Yeah,
It's,
it
Now,
happened.
men or women or both?
yeah.
Both. Not even just me. It could be anyone that I've seen other people walk in the club and I automatically see like men and women mad at whoever just walked in and they don't even know them.
Okay, so that's the song. Well, that right there is okay. So men and women would be able to actually get into that song. Men could be like when I walk into the club, look how these people acting because I'm so fly. Okay, I got it. So it's not about some ex-boyfriend or anything.
And you are
No.
fly.
And now sing that part right there. That part for us.
The first part?
Yeah.
Okay. When I walk in the club, they showing me love. Don't be mad at you staring at me.
Okay,
You
so
realize you're rushing your words.
I want you guys to notice that she just sang that the way she used to sing it.
Which is okay. I'm lost.
Okay, what did we change from where you started? What was the number one thing we worked on? What's different about the song now than when you first sang it?
Well, I know when I first sang it, I sang it a little higher. And
Okay.
just now when I sang it more low.
Okay. Do you remember anything about rhythm?
Yeah, I don't think I came on key this time.
Yeah, so you were distracted and you didn't have the rhythm you had when you did it the first time.
Yeah, I noticed
So
that.
on this particular song, because the lyrics are all happy and all dancey, she started singing like she just did, without any rhythm in her body and just singing the words, and dance music is very dependent on not just the drummer and not just the band, but also the singer needs to make you feel like you want to dance too.
Yeah.
And so when we listen to singers that do dance music, we can hear that rhythm in their voice, and a lot of them are moving a lot too, and that actually helps the rhythm. So I had Imani start moving more and punching the rhythms, and because there wasn't a lot there wasn't a lot of drama to work on or anything on this one because it is so up. And so the key was for her to stay up. So now this time sing it like you do in our sessions.
Okay. I'll be upbeat.
Yeah.
When I walk in the club, they showing me love. Don't be mad at you staring at me.
Yeah.
Just that part.
Right. So Mott just got a little better impression, I think, of what how you actually phrase and style.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things as a producer, what I'll do with a singer is when I listen to music, if we get rid of the words and you just listen to the rhythm of certain singers or the melody of what they're singing, it moves you. And so if it's an angry thing, it'll be this angry feeling rhythm and melody, right? Or
Right.
like Mike, if you can go back and listen to some of these songs like Michael Jackson, like say you want it dun 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 dun. There's a musicality that moves you in that, and that's one of the things I started noticing that I needed to start getting singers to pay attention to when you just to get them into the rhythm of what they're doing so that the rhythm itself speaks. So there's layers. There's a rhythm of what you're doing that speaks. Then there's the words that you're speaking, the actual words, and then there's the emotion and character that you put behind it. And when you get all of those working together, you're hitting people with layers. And so yeah, that like you did it the next time with the rhythm, and see that's what I was asking. Like when Brad said it's a happy song, so we're doing it with this up rhythm. That's if somebody just says, "Oh, I just thought it was cool," I'm like, okay, nope, we got some work. But so yeah, Brad already got you started on that path of why you would start it off like that. Okay.
All right.
Can you play a little bit of the beat for us?
Okay.
So we all can hear what, why you wrote this and why you picked that music?
Yeah.
Because I think you did a good job.
Yeah, no problem. I'll play it right now.
Okay, that's good. So it's kind of interesting when you hear her sing over those guys going, hey, hey, hey. I'm not sure I'd keep that in a tracking session, uh, but it's energy, it's rhythm, you know. It's a gang vocal. It's what they call that when they get a bunch of guys together who really aren't singers and they just yell, hey, hey, hey.
Right.
But it's all about the energy, and that's mostly what we worked on in the song was about the energy.
Mhm.
Have you already recorded the song?
I have not recorded the song yet. Not yet.
But you're planning to, right? But you are planning to record it, right?
I do plan on recording it.
Uh, the things like the hey, the one thing about the tracks where it's up well first, do you have are you able to get the song tracked out to where you have all the individual sounds where when a person goes to mix it, they can cater it to your vocal? Or is it
I
just
don't
going to
think
be a
so.
two-track? So it's just going to be a two-track. Things like the hey, 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 you like we can add stuff like that and add a rhythm. Like you can add when you add a hi-hat to a beat, you can make the beat all of a sudden swing. And what we can do when we're doing songs is when you're singing, we can do that stuff in the background with vocals and create different feels. That one's embedded in, and if you don't have the ability to track it out, which means where you would have the kick, snare, everything separate, so we can automate volumes and mute things and pan them. It limits you as far as how much we can actually do. It doesn't mean that we can't possibly make it to be to where it really, is a nice song, but you're actually limited. It's like you're starting off with your hands tied. So when you do music, if you can get stuff tracked out, if if it costs you whatever amount of money and you really believe in the song, you want to ask those producers for that beat tracked out so that like there may come a time when they're saying hey, hey, and we need those hays muted or turned down real low, or something that I can do, which is make it 100% wet with reverb, push it way in the back, so that your vocal is what's out front and shining.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, is your music getting tracked out makes it to where when we go to mix your song and produce it, we have full control, and your vocal is not fighting. Because some of the stuff in the songs will fight. You'll have this great emotion and whatever, and some of the stuff will end up fighting those moments if we don't have to. So especially in all this work with Brad, it's like you deserve to have your vocal to be to where it can be shine, it can be put up front and put on a great display.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody knows, but most musicians hate that the singer is the sales point of the song. And the number one complaint that I hear in live performances is the band was great and the singer was terrible. Now, sometimes we know now that that's because of the monitor systems. They can't hear themselves, so you really don't know what you're hearing.
Right.
I just went to, about a month ago, went to what supposedly was a CD Baby event, which was not. It was really not that cool of an event. Like they usually put on, and they did have a band on there, and that girl was just yelling as loud as she could, to try to hit the notes, and it was just, I don't know if she always does that or if the monitor system wasn't set up right. You just don't know unless you walk up and ask them, or walk up on stage and sit there and listen to their monitors. And that's why I wrote that blog about in-ear monitors. But anyway, let me work with you for a second. Go ahead and sing the track again with the track. And there was one particular spot we really worked on rhythm, and I want to show people what we did with it, and also I want to improve a little bit. So I really want you to go into the dance club, go into the dance mode. It's party time.
Okay.
And, like we'll go as far as we did last time, but you'll do it with the music so that you can feel the rhythm and we can feel the rhythm. And like Mott said, I noticed right away myself that hey, hey, hey in the background was a little bit distracting. So they'll get a chance to hear, where the music is helping you and where it's distracting you.
Okay.
Maybe not distracting you, but distracting from you. You are. The singer is always, the center of attention unless it's an instrumental band. And unfortunately for musicians, most of them can't make a living in instrumental music. So they begrudgingly work with singers because they're jealous, really. And I was a musician, so and a singer at the same time, so I see both sides of the fence. But it's just the facts. I mean, you just turn on the radio or turn on anything that's selling very well, and there's a great singer on it. Anyway, so go ahead.
Okay, and how far down do I sing? You'll tell me to stop, right?
Yeah. I'll just give you a
okay.
tease.
Okay. Here we go.
Feel already.
When I walk in the club, they show me love. Don't be mad at you staring at me. I'm just looking around and without a doubt, I can tell you kinda hating on me. But if you like what you see, no need for jealousy. Come on, y'all, drinks on me. Enjoy this party with me. You have the right to choose. Turn up or just look confused. The choice is up to you. Do what you gotta do. I can't let nobody stop me from doing things that I wanna do. I wanna do what I wanna do. I came here to enjoy my time. You got Patron in your cup and I got mine. Feeling real good. I freed up my mind. Don't give a damn about nobody. I came here.
So,
okay.
I'm going to ask the group in that lower, almost rap part. Do you all think that there was enough rhythm there?
I think this is Robert.
Yeah, hey Robert.
I think she has a very great amount of potential in her voice. I think it's very nice. She has a really good voice. As far as the rhythm, I think she needs to work with pace, rhythm and pace. Trying to find that balance between what she's saying and what the rhythm is doing. So I work on pace with that. And as far as the song goes, relax. Like I believe Ebony Rose came in. I came in on the tail end of this, but if you relax, work on your breath control, it will give you a better sense of how to pace yourself in the song so that you can put those words together and make it feel better. Okay. I think it would feel better if you just relaxed, worked on the breath control, know when to come in with certain senses of emotion in certain words that you say.
I agree.
Okay, next.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Yes, your voice is very, very velvety. And what I would say is that you got to learn how to find that pocket. Because at times I kept feeling like you were going ahead of the beat. And it was like you were allowing the beat to ride you instead of you riding it. Mm-hmm. So a big part of it is to just sit back in the groove. Feel the groove. Feel what you're really talking about. And one thing I would say is that when I had met Matt out in LA, he basically told me, you can have a conversation without saying any words. So sometimes, instead of concentrating on the words, be more focused on the melody of the song that can convey the emotion of the good time or whatever that feeling that you're having at that moment to actually come through. Because otherwise, in that, I feel like you're speeding too fast, like you're trying to get too many words in on the beat versus falling into the pocket of it and allowing yourself to feel the beat instead of the beat feeling you.
Truism.
Okay. I would follow. Can anybody hear me?
Turn up.
Hello,
Brian.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just barely.
Just a little bit.
Sorry, it's a bad microphone. I've been trying to fix it.
We got you.
I would reflect that everybody has said the appropriate things. One of the techniques you might try is rather than saying the words, use some musical note in your voice by saying la 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 or some appropriate thing, and not worry about the saying of the words. But as the lady that just spoke said, focus on the beat and the melody. let go of trying to say words. Try to fly into that music and put generic, la la la's or some type of vocal presentation that gives you the ability to just follow the music and repeat that, keep going over it and over and over, and then interject the lyrics into it. And you'll find that what happens is, rather than worrying about singing it so much, you're actually playing your voice and just using the words rather than those aforementioned generic la la la's or some other type of placement, if you will.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay, so what we'll do. Oh, Ebony, did you have anything to say? I guess she's walked away. Okay, so here's a great.
I'm
Here's.
here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Sorry, I'm like trying to sort out all the stuff that I've done from the birthday party. That's irrelevant. Okay, so basically, I agree with I think it was Monet that said that you sped up a little bit when you were singing. But I think that is due to the fact that you didn't write it to that specific music. I think that's what it is, and I think that is because you've picked a track to fit the music, which makes it kind of makes it a little bit hard. But the good thing is that, and the thing, that little tweak that you need to learn is that if you do take your lyric and place it onto another set of music, it could be any kind of music, you should be able to adapt the lyric to the music. So how your melody line is and the way the beat is going, not all the time it needs to sit on that beat either. So you kind of need to
Okay.
to know how to play, like, just know when to pull back and know when to be on beat, if you get what I mean. You just have to learn that balance, because the thing is, the beat does go with it in some parts, and then other parts it's like it's tripping you up a little. So I totally get what they mean by with the years as well, because they were very distracting anyway.
Okay.
So if some of them were taken out in your verses, if some of the years were taken out, then I reckon it would be a little bit easier for you to do your rhythm against the music. Like,
Yeah, I got a question for you. Do you have a background in gospel?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why I'm hearing that. The song "Single Ladies," like if you go and listen to "Single Ladies," she's singing some fast stuff, but the rhythm of her vocal is really moving, and it sounded to me like you were rushing your words, and you might just be nervous. That might be
I'm just really nervous.
Yeah, being on here with Ebony, when Ebony first came on, I said, "Ebony, sing," and she's like, "Huh? What?"
Also, you're still reading the lyrics, aren't you?
Huh?
You look like you're still reading the lyrics.
I am, just because that's my comfort. That's my comfort, but I know I need to push away from that.
Yeah,
but
because it will
I am
distract you
nervous.
from everything else.
Yeah, you definitely want to get the lyrics down, and then, but there's a communication that happens that's not the words, and so I would suggest, like when Brad had you like go up tempo and the whole party thing, I would practice doing the vocal stuff without the words, so that you get your rhythm down, where you can really get into the beat as a musician. Where you're sitting there, I forget the words, but you say the words without saying the words. You say the words rhythmically, like if I'm going to say I love you very much, da 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 da, like that, instead of actually saying the words, so that you can get into the groove and then try to sing it. And after you get that down, I did that with a singer named Annie Rams, and she had said she couldn't sing rock, and I had her make this beat on top of her, a beat that goes on top of the beat that I gave her, and when she got that beat down and she sang it, it sounded natural. She was surprised. She's like, "I did it!" And it sounded very natural, and that's just what it sounds like to me. That you've got to get that rhythm down. You just work with Brad, work with yourself, and get the rhythm of it. different rhythms down that work with it. And one thing that Brad said, like the basis of what Brad said is, you're the star of the song, and we should really feel you. Like on the song "Single Ladies," that beat is jamming, but we check out what Beyonce is saying and how she's making us feel about it. When she put a ring on it, it's what she, how she says it. She's the star of that song. You need to be the commanding star of that song. You know, and where your rhythm is really speaking to people. And if you end up having to cut your words off, we should feel it so much that we don't care. Like, there's songs in the past where I have no idea what Michael Jackson or somebody else is saying, but damn it, I'm so all in. But I would go and read them lyrics and learn. But I'm so caught up into what he's saying, the rhythm, the melody. Like Fur Elise, no words in Fur Elise, but it moves us. And the music of your vocals should absolutely move us. But now I'm going to shut up and let Brad. Go ahead, Brad.
Okay. So, Imani, did I ever have you clap this one?
No.
Okay. All right. So let's do two things that everybody can see that works, that I've used various artists before. So this time, as the music's playing, I want you to clap the beat. That's that lower part. But you can start it from the beginning.
Okay, so don't sing it, but clap it?
Yeah, that's the first thing we'll do. And then we'll go on to Brian's recommendation.
Okay. Let me play it. Wait, that's hard.
All right, you're right. It is a little bit difficult at first, especially a song that moves this fast.
Yeah.
But now what we're going to do is we're going to pick a syllable, and the one that usually works best for rhythm and intensity, if I'm giving somebody a vocal exercise, is ga. So you'll sing the melody. Ga 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 ga. Ga 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 ga, and it'll bring your whole body and everything, like they were saying, into just the rhythm. You don't have to look at the sheet music either, the words either. So it'll free you. It'll free you a little bit, and at the same time, you know, nobody's going to expect you to do either of these things perfect since it's brand new. But this is how we talked to, you know, for those of you who weren't here, one of the things we talked about at the very beginning was that I've worked with Imani many times, and usually I'm working with somebody that I've never worked with before. So this is a little different, but here's where you've given us your opinions like producers do, and we're taking that advice and we're going to make it real for Imani by making her actually feel like more of a drummer than a singer. So clapping is kind of like hitting the drums, very staccato, very straight ahead, and then the ga is a very short syllable. Ga 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 ga. So I did it more staccato that time. So that should be more like that for practice. Now I know you don't want the song to sound that way. It would be
yeah.
But for practice of rhythm and like Mott said, if sometimes it'll get decided that maybe a word should be cut or glissed off really quick because it's distracting to the rhythm. And that's we can get back to that later, but let's just work on the basic thing that they're saying where you're rushing a little bit.
Okay.
Because you see again, the clapping is your rhythm was easier. Unfortunately on Google Hangout none of us can clap together because of latency.
Yeah.
So we can't help you with the group thing. But if you're here in the studio, then I would clap along with you. So go ahead.
Okay, so do the ga and clap at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna have you cue me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know your mind was mostly on what in the hell am I doing? But erase that from your memory for just a second and tell us how it felt to just do the rhythm alone.
Well, it felt kind of awkward, but I mean, it honestly felt good because I felt like I was more on the rhythm and not really rushing it. As when I was singing it the last time, I felt like because of my nerves, I was just trying to get through the song so I can end it.
Okay, so let's hear from the panel again. What did you all perceive?
This time around, I felt that she was a little bit more comfortable. Only reason I say that because her body language, her body itself seemed like it relaxed. So it was the fact that she wasn't focusing on the words. You can clearly see at one point she went into her head thinking about the words, but the moment she jumped back out, she fell right back into the rhythm. So kudos for that, because you have to understand sometimes when it's too many lyrics and you're trying to make sure that you're in pocket, you'll lose yourself real quickly. Then you look like a deer in headlights. So that's exactly what you did, and I was like, okay, she was thinking about the words, but the moment you close your eyes and you started getting more into it, then I got more of a picture of what the song was feeling like. Because when you're rushing, it's just kind of like, okay, is it chaos, or is this something I can sit back and groove to? And I was kind of grooving with you. I was like, okay, I feel you. I see where you're going with it. So good job on that.
Next.
Thank you.
I'll go. Put notes down. It says, first, allow yourself to be horrible. Allow yourself to be horrible. If you and I are working, you have to not worry about, like if you're singing and snot starts coming out your nose, you don't worry about it. Be so into what you're doing that you come out of that and you're like, oh, my bad, that type of thing. So don't worry about us judging you or how you feel, because it starts affecting the sound. Like whatever you're feeling, it comes out. And so if you get more and more into what you're doing, you'll get the win. Okay. You got more on rhythm with that ga stuff is percussive. It lets you like strike, and you should practice that a lot. That's a I like that. You should really practice that and get in where you're actually flowing with your lyrics, flowing with that ga, because the basic rhythm of the sentences that you're singing in that first verse, they have a nice little rhythm that you can play with. As I was listening to you, this is me in producer mode again, in songwriter mode. as I was listening to you, it sounded like everything you did started on the one. You want to look into, I highly advise that you look into, say the verse starts on the one. Maybe the hook starts on the one and. You know, and when you have different starting points, it throws us off and changes. There's a change. You want contrast between the verse and the hook. And it seemed like the verse started off on one, then the hook came in and started on the one, and our bodies after a while get bored with the exact sameness. Even if we don't catch it intellectually, our bodies everything's on the one. But like we'll start one thing and maybe you do the next one, you swing it a little. Those changes you've got changes built in. Those changes I automatically when I said, hey, switching to some gospel spiritual stuff. That automatically got me. But if every song that you do, be careful that every song that you do, that all the lyrics don't start off on the one.
Okay.
Watch that. Like, listen to songs on the radio or songs that you really like, and start paying attention where the sentences start off at. You know,
okay.
On the bridge, did it start on the? Like, you listen to some songs and they'll start on the 1 and 2. They'll start right there. There's a pause and then they'll start. And then be careful of melodies starting off on the exact same note every time. The hook, it starts off on C3. The verse starts off on C3. That type of stuff. Be careful of those starting places. And what else did I write? By yourself, blah, blah, blah. That was it. You're going to have to practice getting into the rhythm of the song so that when you go in, it's like Ella Fitzgerald and them says, it ain't no thing. What do they say? If it ain't got that swing?
Yeah, if you don't have that swing, you ain't got nothing or something like that.
Yeah, like when you get into that groove, you will make us feel it by communicating that groove. Because when you started singing it the very first time, I heard this rhythmic thing going on, and it felt like you were trying to match what you were doing to the beat. When you sang it a cappella that first time, it's like you were a slave to that beat instead of a slave to the groove and getting into it. You should be able to rush forward, come back, like have a real good groove where you're in control, where you take control and you can play with it. That's all. I like your words, and now it's a matter of the non-word communication speaking to us.
Now she does syncopate the ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. She ends on the one, but she's just, she syncopates. And that's where you get that little swing feel. And we've talked about that. It takes time.
Now, what's it like singing in front of all of us just on the spot? Hey, throwing you under the bus like this.
Yeah, she's being a hero,
Man, I wasn't expecting this, and so usually this is good for me because usually if a friend asks me to sing on the spot, I'm like, no, why? But they're prepping me for moments like this, and so I appreciate it. Like, yeah, it's scary, but the more I'm in this call, the more comfortable I'm feeling. And there's going to be times when people are going to be like, let me hear something, and I have to do it.
Yeah. I have a saying, it's a little overstated, but if you practice a song to the point you're bored, in other words, there's nothing left to do, nothing left to change, you're happy with everything you do, and you do that for, say, a couple of weeks prior to the show or prior to the recording session, you'll be under pressure, and it'll automatically come out right. That's what pre in production means. So that's why, we don't want you reading lyrics. I mean, audience like Ebony noticed. She noticed your eyes were locked. That's what I noticed.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, how much another brain can interpret another person so quickly, and hear so many things. And of course, Mott's, about songwriting, he's definitely right. You want to have a brand. In other words, and I find most artists' brands are something they tend to do more often than any other artist. Mm-hmm. That kind of sets them aside. So, but what Mott's saying about songwriting, and we don't talk about that too much because it's not my area of what you're paying me for. But and you got it for free from Mott, so yay, Mott. yeah, you want your songs to break up, and I the songs that we've done, I don't feel like they've been too similar, but that's a good catch, Mott, on the one thing.
Yeah.
I did I was working with the artist Kinsey Rose, and I went in and I did some mumble jumbo stuff on the microphone that was just musical vocal stuff. I cannot sing at all, but I do have a bit of rhythm, and I can give you the idea. And so I got on the track, say 4 or 5 vocals, to where they were overlapping and doing this musical thing. Mm-hmm. And when I had her come in, she didn't have to worry about creating that. This was teamwork. All she had to do was come up with the sentences. And so she listened, and she wrote sentences that worked with what I was doing, called me and recorded herself. I had her record herself, called me back in, and I just smirked and like, oh, this is dope. Because there's a layer of communication that was done on my part where we split the work up. I did my part, then she came in and did hers. And sometimes you have to, like you may have to do that sometimes where you, like when we take math, and you take English, you split it all up. But in real life, you do it all in one mumble-jumbled mess. You may have to come in and spend time just doing ga, 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 ga. Just break it up and just practice that one thing, and you get that down. Like next time you go to write a song, decide what emotion you're going to sing in, say, the verse. And once you get into that emotion, like if Brad has been working with you on getting into the right emotion for whatever you're doing, and then create that melody or rhythm while you're in that state, and make yourself like you really feel it, and you come up with this and record it, and then write the lyrics to it later. Watch. You'll be surprised. You'll be like, wow, because you broke the process up. Sometimes you have to separate and break the process up, which when Brad is training, like he said, ga, 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 that's breaking the process up.
Right.
So when you songwrite, break the process up. Get into the communicating with people without the words, with just being based off of that emotion, and then write the words. And sometimes it can be hard to make those match up, and then you have to go back and forth until you get it. And you should be able to present something to Brad where he says, okay, what'd you do? Because something's coming together. And that's where the training and whatever starts taking effect, and he'll automatically feel it. Automatically.
Okay. Next, panelist. Anybody out there?
Monet, Robert?
Hey, Rob. This is Robert. Hi, everybody again.
Oops, hold on. Sorry.
Monet Love. First of all, Monet Love, it's great to hear from you again. Glad to see you on this chat. Ebony Rose, I missed you too. Now to Imani Legend. That I'm gonna call it the Gaga method. The Gaga method really worked for you. Remember what I was saying about relaxation, so that you can get into the pace.
Yeah.
Rhythm? That absolutely worked for you. As you broke it down with the Gaga Gagas, I pretty much understood, especially when you got to part B. Until I guess I don't know if you want to call that the hook, but part B of your song was really relaxed. The ba 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 ga 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 ga. That right there was beautiful, and I understood you clearly as if you were saying words. So that method really works for you. All I can say is keep on working on that like a basketball player works on free throws. The only way you're going to get better, if you're going to go from 60% to 100%, you got to keep on putting in the work. So just keep on practicing that way and doing those little things that work. Because when you start getting that part done, and you get, as Brad said, bored with the process because you've gotten so good at it, then you can start noticing all the other little quirks and nuances that you can get better at. I think you did a good job, and just keep on building off of that.
All right, thank you. I will.
Go ahead, Monet.
Yes. What I would say too is that you have a uniqueness about you. That's one, because you don't sound like anybody that I've heard before. So that plays into your favor, because when you have something that nobody else has, you can make a sound that's just so unique. But you have to understand your rhythms. Rhythm is everything. I'm not talking like rhythm and blues. I'm talking about rhythm itself, time. You know, when you can sit up there and like, I mean, that was pure genius for him to have you clap and go gaga at the same time, because at that moment you're not thinking of the lyric content, but you're thinking of the rhythm. And so when that rhythm comes, it's just like body language. We dance, right? And how are we dancing? We're dancing to a rhythm. If you go back and look at Africa, they don't say one word. They're singing ahs and oohs all day. But the rhythm that they're keeping is what gets you. Any culture, it's a dance. And as a vocalist, you have to understand you're dancing with your voice. So the more you dance with your voice, the more people can say, ooh, that was good, or ooh, what was that? And it's because you're building your own signature. So if you look at a timeline, time goes infinitely, right? But what carves out the time is the fluctuation in your voice, how you bring it up, how you bring it down, how you focus it straight, how you let it waver away, how you put vibrato, take away vibrato. It's just you have to understand that all those runs and all that, okay, yeah, it's cute, but it's a time signature that you must stay on. And by doing that, you can get to this point where it's just, it's flawless. Like Brad said that when you start doing it so much that you can't think of anything else to possibly do to it, when you go into the studio to record it, it's flawless. In your mind, you're not concentrating. You're not thinking about it because you've done it so much to the point that you feel like you're bored of it. But it comes across like you put in so much hard work and so much effort into it that they're like, man, if she can cue this, I wonder what else she can do. But they're not understanding the pre-production you did to get there. So like he said, it's like playing basketball. You got to shoot that free throw a million times before one sinks in. You got it. So in essence, you got to keep doing it and get more comfortable, because like you said, you never know. A multi-producer can come up to you and say, hey, I want you to sing this right on the spot. You can't be thinking to yourself, okay, ga, 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 ga. You got to be able to say, I'm comfortable, and to know what I'm doing and kill it. So, and I know you can do it because you just displayed it right here, and that takes a lot, sweetie. And I mean, you're learning, and it's a very hard lesson to learn when you don't have the right people. So it's awesome that you're on this hangout, because all of us have been through this. We've all experienced it, and Brad is just amazing at what he does. So for him to break you out of that shell, honey, okay, Brad, you know you're good. He's awesome, and to see you bloom within this, 45 minutes or an hour we've been on here, it's amazing. So yeah, keep doing it, girl. You got it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Brian, you got anything? I can see your picture, but I don't know if you're still with us. Oh well, yeah. Actually, there's an interesting story, and actually, oh, there we go.
Go ahead.
Well, what did you think of the clapping and the ga ga ga?
Well, I think that the complexity of that particular song is really hard for her to follow. But I think really what probably is the most prominent idea is that she doesn't know the words, and she admitted that. So she's trying to do something and present confidence a little early in the gate. Excuse me, a little early in the game. So I think really it just bears a lot more repetition, a lot more practice. Her voice is awesome. I think there's a good story in there.
Thank
and I
you.
think it could be done well, but she really needs to know, all the words. She needs to have it pretty much set in her mind, because we're fine tuning here. We're really going in micro when we should back out a little bit and look at the macro. From my perspective.
Cool.
Hey, Brad, can I say one more thing?
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna expand on your free throw thing.
Okay. I wanted to say one thing. Imani is always to have a comfort zone, but it's to have the it's. What I mean by that is the ITZ. You got to get the zone. When you get in the zone, nothing's going to stop you. Because see, comfort is cool, but comfort can also be the enemy of progress.
Okay.
So you get comfortable in doing something that you think you don't have any more room for growth. But there's all room for continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is the thing that's going to help you not be just continuously comfortable. Excuse my friend. Always know that the more work you put in, the better and more confident you're going to feel when you have to implement those elements of style for which you've been working on. So
Okay.
just keep on, honey. I love it.
Thank
So,
you.
Robert, it sounds like we both listened to Tony Robbins' first cassette thing, and he talked about that there, I don't know how many decades ago, but there was a basketball coach, a college basketball coach, that took over a team, and kind of like, you know, the fantasy in the movies where, you know, all of a sudden they're just beating everybody. But it wasn't a fantasy, it was a reality. And what he did with his players, which was kind of hard because the players didn't want to do it, especially the ones who were, you know, really cocky coming off the streets, you know, and getting picked, you know, for the team and all that. Maybe it wasn't even a college team. It might have actually been a pro team. I think it was a pro team now that I think back about it. Anyway, so what he did was a little bit similar to what I did with Imani. He had them, like to say, do the free throw over and over and over and over again. And the player would say to him, he'd say, well, I know I can do that. He says, I know you can do that. He says, but can you do it with hands waving in front of you and the clock down to 1 second? And so the idea was to get the subconscious so grooved that all those distractions, all of those emotions that are coming up on those tight situations, they're still going to make the basket. And this is a little different than the free throw. He was actually talking about, you know, like shooting from anywhere on the court. You know, because somebody's trying to stop you. Always somebody's trying to make sure that you don't hit that basket. And so his idea is to have them go to different places in the court and do 500 throws until they couldn't miss. And his team just started wiping everybody out. Now everybody's caught up with that, and so it's, you know, it's more level playing field now. But musicians have known this for centuries, that if you I think it was Ebony that mentioned, you know, slowing it down would help. Unfortunately, you don't have that ability. Maybe what I need to do is show you how to use Audacity to do it. But yeah, slowing things down is a musician's way of getting in the groove and knowing exactly what's going on. And then then they use a metronome or the track if they've got a way to slow it down, speed it up, without changing the key. Then they'll start playing a little faster, a little faster, a little faster, but they'll always be monitoring. Am I making a mistake? Or is it still clean? If they go to the point they're starting to get unclean, then they'll go back, slow down a little bit again until they've got that grooved. And so this is the so-called secret, you know, or magic, you know, that, you know, people like to do that, or selling things, I like to use those terms, is really what makes the difference between a great artist and the average person. And I also, you guys may not agree with this, but I also find, because I've worked with a lot of artists that are very successful, that they do all this for fun. And so they do it every day a lot. And that's what they love doing.
I agree with it because it's, I mean, the best way to engage your craft is to actually have fun with it. I mean, don't look at it as a job. I mean, I know a lot of people that work 9 to 5 that go, I hate my job. They don't necessarily love what they're doing because that's what they chose to do. But as artists, we're creative. So that's the fun part about it, because we can do anything we want to do and have fun doing it. It's like making love to a track without physically having to be involved, but mentally stimulating yourself is amazing. And a band that I saw recently, Dave Matthews. If you guys don't know who that is, you need to, oh my God, that right there,
love him.
will explain everything. You guys got to check out the Dave Matthews Band, and then you'll understand what it really means to be an artist.
Oh yes, absolutely, I agree. And I would say this: when I'm with the church choir, in my church we have a lot of individuals in the choir who aren't singers. The greatest joy I get out of doing that is helping and teaching individuals who have a limited skill that they can be unlimited in their potential. And what you have to do is find the joy in it. I mean, I don't have to search too hard because I love this thing. My pastor's always talking about, I wish I could pay you, but I don't want him to pay me. I do this because, number one, because all the glory belongs to God. Number two, I love what I'm doing. And you got to have that joy for it. It's got to be so real to you that, you know, even when I can cry just hearing the lyrics to an Al Jarreau song, like his old song Our Love that he made. I get a joy from just listening to it, and when I kind of joy with it, that just hearing the words makes me cry. I know I'm in love. So you got to be in love with this music. You got to really take it to heart and let nothing and no one get in your way. Don't fall for the distractions. Don't let nobody tell you what will and won't work. Process it in your heart. Process it in your heart and use it to your advantage, because nothing worse than to let somebody tell you to you know, maybe you shouldn't do that. No, you should be doing what you're doing. Love this thing, grow in this thing, be passionate with this thing, and as Monet said, make love with this thing. You know, there's a difference between making love to something and love with something, because the music loves you just like you love the music.
Right.
Fall in love with it.
So, Robert, you just basically wrote one of my blogs on this topic, and to play the devil's advocate about how we're talking, the reason I wrote the blog is because the amateurs that make the mistake that never become performers is that they work very disciplined and very hard, and when they get in front of an audience, people don't really enjoy them because they're the host or hostess of the party, because it is a party. And like the nightclub you're talking about, like say they were playing your record when you walked in, you know, you're you know, even though the DJ is playing it and he's got his own thing going on, but people are dancing to you because you're having a great time. But somebody wrote a comment on my blog that said, well, what about this song that we did that had started off kind of like a funeral dirge, and then from there it started to get to kind of a hallelujah kind of thing. And so her point was, how do you enjoy being sad? You know, so you have to kind of interpret the word fun just meaning that if you enjoy singing blues, then even though you're very sad, you're still having fun.
Right.
That's true.
Kind of sounds like a contradiction in terms, but you just have to understand what the word really means. And one of the things that I learned in this industry by working with various people and talking to them and being their coach or and hearing some of their stories is that they're all a bunch of goof-offs. These people that we look at and go, oh my God, they're stars and they're incredible, they must have worked their asses off or whatever. Well, they did put in a lot of time. There's no question about that. They put in a lot of time. But they weren't working like, I know your name, hold on. Her last name is Love. Yeah. Monet, like Monet said. So you've got to make sure, if you want to have a good fan following, if that matters to you, that you are really enjoying singing sad words or singing. I have a client just sang Ave Maria at a funeral, and when I saw her again, I said, "How'd that go?" And she said, "Oh, it was just wonderful." So she thought, singing at this funeral just went wonderfully. It's kind of funny, but it's just the reality that a lot of people don't ever know about, because the press, the media that's trying to sell their magazines and everything, they don't like to talk about this kind of stuff because people don't like to read it. They like to think they can go on American Idol without ever having sung a note in their life and become a superstar.
It doesn't work that way.
No, and if we try to make it work that way, we're screwed.
Absolutely. And I describe fun as FUN, and what I say fun is feeling undescribable nirvana. So and that's how music makes me feel, like an undescribable high that just cannot be matched or can't be exceeded by anything else. So you got to have fun. Get that feeling of undescribable nirvana in your music.
Got it.
Okay. Imani, is there anything else you want to work on, or does anybody have an idea of what you'd like to see me do with her voice and her rhythm and all that stuff?
I like to hear her go for a ballad type song. I could feel something really soulful in that voice, really velvety, and I love to hear her go for a ballad type song.
Yeah, you know your voice is like that too, Robert.
Yeah, I was going to say I would love to hear her do a nice little ballad, something that she totally feels comfortable in, because her voice is just, it's canny. It's very canny. And I would love to hear you sing a ballad versus trying to feel something up-tempo right now, because I believe you would go and get gritty with it. As they would say, you put some grit on that.
Got it.
Yeah, definitely have the ITZ. You be in the zone on the ballad. I know you would.
So have you got one? One that's yours?
Let's see. You know, a lot of my music is pretty upbeat. My mom actually was recently telling me that I need to write a song that you guys are telling me that I should, you know, do now. Let me see.
And while you're looking for that, yeah, that can be kind of frustrating for a singer because they see themselves differently than we see them, and they may, you know, and I know I was one. I thought I was, you know, big hard rock singer, and I don't have the instrument for it. I know that now as a coach that I was never born with an instrument that would really pull that off. But that's what I love doing. So sometimes somebody say, well, you know, we really like it when you sing low, and I'm like, I don't like it when I sing low. But you should take it to heart, you know, what they're saying.
I am. Trust me, I am.
That doesn't mean
I don't really have a song quite yet. I'm working on one, but
sing a gospel song. I'm gonna take you back to your roots. Sing a gospel song. Everybody got that one gospel song that they can go to, and I know you got one.
Truism.
Okay. I can't think of one at the top of my head.
She has an interesting
What is the one song? It's a song I used to sing in church all the holidays. I cannot remember what song it was.
Just sing "I Love Jesus" and from your interpretation, just sing it and make your own melody for "I Love Jesus."
Exactly.
Okay. I love Jesus.
You know, like how they go, oh, how I love Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh. There you go.
You see the talent that you're getting opinions from?
I do. I like to hear more.
Well, you guys can make friends on Facebook and hear all her stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Nobody wants to hear me sing. Trust me.
Yeah.
Let me try that.
So Brian just brought up the thing about the team effort, you know, and that's kind of what we've done today. You know, I could see we had a panel of experts here, so you know, they learned from us and we're learning from them. It's just
teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. Very true. Okay, let me try one.
Just before you start, Imani.
Okay.
I know you guys can barely hear me. That's why I've kind of stayed out of the conversation. I'm here in the Central Valley. Mott's a good friend. If you need somebody to work with, I heard you speaking earlier about you were working with somebody that weren't real compatible. You always want to come down here. So check with me on Facebook.
Thank you. I'll definitely do that when I come back.
Yeah, just you know, hit us up. We're happy to help.
Thank you. You said you're where?
I'm in Tulare. South of Fresno.
Okay, yeah, that's
Visalia?
maybe 2 hours from me.
Yeah.
I'll definitely do that. I can do that.
So, and you can check it out. You know, reference Mott. He'll fill you in. But great work with you. I got to step away. It's been great. Brad, you're awesome. Mott, thanks for always hanging out with us, and you've got a career ahead of you, young lady. Keep at it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Goodbye, all.
Goodbye.
See you, Brian.
See you later, bro.
Okay, so Mosh just rejoined us. So Imani's looking for a gospel ballad in her mind.
So Monet Love. So you told me to try the Oh How I Love Jesus. I don't know all the words, but I'll just try that part, okay?
Yeah, that's totally fine. No, you can repeat that over and over and over again, and that's what I'm saying. Just say, "Oh, how I love Jesus," and I mean, you can sing that 5 different ways, and it's the same sentence, and you'll give off a different emotion every time. Trust me, it works.
Yeah. That's right. That's absolutely right. Say it 3 times and then say, "Because he first loved me."
All right. I don't want to be nervous. I'm gonna just do it. Okay. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me. Oh, I'm so nervous.
Ah, I hear you.
Yes.
Oh, girl.
What
That is the one.
Okay, what I
That
want you
voice
to do.
right there, that is the voice. That right there, that is how you can sing all the time. That is amazing.
Oh,
Now
So,
here's where you could use your low voice, Imani.
yes, I was gonna say.
Love Jesus.
Okay. I'll try with the low voice.
Yeah, sing it happy, sing it sad, sing it playful. I mean, change the emotion. You can control that.
yes, use the range of emotions.
All right, let's try it.
I hear a strong alto coming out of you with this.
I feel it. Okay. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me.
You
Girl, you couldn't think that.
found it. You found it. In the song. That's it. That is your niche. Woo!
What Monet was hitting on is you could say the exact same words, and because the emotion is changing, you're actually communicating a whole different thing, and so you're not saying the same thing. You know,
Right.
you say I love you, and I say I love you. I'm not saying the same thing, even though it's the same words. And what made me catch on to it, there's certain hit songs out there, old school, that just really move me. And when I go to look at these awesome lyrics, it's about 5 sentences.
Yeah.
And they're singing over and over and over different ways, and I never caught it. And all they're doing is taking the emotion up, down, happy, sad, questioning, and it's the same lyrics. And I did an experiment with a singer out here, and she sang for 3.5 minutes the same lyrics. And when you listen, you're so caught up being washed away in all these different feels that when it's over, and I say, you realize she was only saying one thing, people are like, huh? Because they're on this emotional journey, is what it is, an emotional journey.
Okay.
That's it right there, the journey.
Let me ask you to do this, Imani. Start it here. Oh, I love Jesus.
Okay. Oh, how I love Jesus.
I want you all to hear that. Now they're all telling you. They're all going to tell you. Don't be embarrassed by that. It's really nice.
Exactly.
Nothing to be embarrassed about. You are right there in the range. You are around the area. You just hadn't pulled in the right driveway yet. That's all.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to explain a key. I like that, Robert. Can I use it?
Absolutely.
So now I think the only thing we could, and now this is actually interesting, you guys, because I run into this all the time, because we're rehearsing. My clients sometimes, they'll make a mistake and they'll put their hand on their chest and you can see their eyes go up and, the body English saying, oh, I screwed up. Those are actually great opportunities for growth. Because what you can do here, Imani, is the way to get away from feeling embarrassed about it, that works virtually every time, and I think you've experienced it already, is just think about how much you love Jesus.
Right.
Nothing else. So I'll give you that same note. You can keep your eyes closed the whole time if you want. It's not an issue. This is not a video. This is an audio session. And really dig deep down into your gospel background and feel those times that you were just so emotionally evolved, if you will, by this particular song.
Oh wait, what note is that? Okay.
It's B3.
So it's O. Okay.
Now only Jesus, nothing else.
Wait. So just sing Jesus?
Well, no, I mean sing the lyrics, but don't think of anything else but how much you love him and how much he loves you at the end there.
Feel Jesus before you sing him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I call that sing from feel, Robert.
Okay. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me.
Anybody hear any difference?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is what I love about my work now.
Great
I immediately heard a difference, Imani, and it much better. Question for you: has there ever been a time where you broke down? Something was going on in your life where you broke down and actually turned to Jesus?
Yeah.
As I would call Yeshua.
Yes.
What was that? What happened? What broke you down?
Like the situation I was in?
Yes. What actually broke you down?
Okay. Well, a friend of mine got one of my best friends 3 years ago got shot and killed.
Okay, stop.
And
Stop. Sing that I Love Jesus for me, please.
Sing that?
Sing I Love Jesus and think about that situation.
Oh, God. Okay. Oh, man. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me.
Great, and even greater depth of emotion right there.
Yeah, this is
That's
why
one of the
I'm
first things-
becoming a really good producer.
That's one of the first things I learned from Brad. When we try to get you to sing from feel, is for you to actually go to that place. And I could have kept going and talked and got you to like invest more into that thought and that time frame, and got you to and probably ended up crying and whatever, and then you started.
Yeah.
It would have been even more and more, but that's what it actually is. I would want to capture you in that moment, feeling that, and somebody would come and say, oh, but she hit this note wrong, I wouldn't give a damn. I want that captured, that feeling, and we could get you more and more into that. It has nothing to do with some pre-made beat or anything like that. It's you're the star, you being into what you're doing, and us capturing that moment.
Okay.
Every great producer that I've heard from would say just almost exactly what Matt just said. So you're hearing the words of a Quincy Jones, of a Max Martin, of a Jeff Basker, of a Cook Carell, I think it is, who's a vocal producer. This is what I'm focusing on so much for all of my clients, because we don't get brought up that way. I mean, as singers, it's like an epiphany, and it's like, wait, I've been working with a guy for a year, and he's a good singer, and he was getting better at feel, but at one point in our session, he just said, "Oh man, I just really got that." He really felt that was more important than anything else he'd ever learned in his life as a singer. So Matt's doing a great job on there, and I actually have a question for all of you as a panel, so to speak. I went into a session a week or two ago. I'd met the singer at a Grammy event with Ricky Cage, and so we got talking about what I do, and so she was very interested in that, and she was right in the middle of a recording, and she has a vocal technique teacher, and she likes her, and she has a producer, and she likes him, but she didn't feel like they were talking as much about emotions as I was, and so she asked me to come in to the studio, and I think the producer was a little bit bugged about it, and we talked after. She said, yeah, she said, I said to him, what, you knew who Brad was, why didn't you tell me months ago? He said, well, I can do everything, I can do it all from here. Well, apparently she wasn't convinced. But here's what happened. She is already a very emotional artist, and so I think it was take 2. At the end of the song, she just totally broke down crying. And it's on the recording. Now, my feeling from the producer is he's not going to use that. And I think, if I understood him right, and if I understand the logic right, it's because it's on a record and people don't want to hear you cry over and over again. What do you all think about that?
Honestly, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I would love to hear an artist break down on a record. That shows and conveys such true emotion. And not only that, that would make me want to buy her next album or whatever next record, because it shows her at her purest form. And to me, that's kind of an insult that he would be like, I'm not going to use that. Well, how else are you going to engage your fans and your followers if they can't see who the real you are and you're all studio work? I don't pay money to go hear studio work. I pay money to hear emotion. So that's just in my perspective on it. As an artist, me personally, there's no way I want to hear something that just sounds so mechanical that it doesn't sway me left or right. I want to feel like a big ball of energy. That's what emotion is a big ball of energy. You can't contain it. It bounces all over the place. So to me, that producer was wrong. He was completely wrong for doing that.
And another thing, he is definitely the wrong producer for her. Do you think that Quincy Jones told Michael Jackson, don't you cry on She's Out of My Life? It became one of the biggest records he ever did. When he sang She's Out of My Life, he couldn't contain his emotion at any time. And some of the greatest moments in that song is when you can feel the quiver in his voice as he was singing. So I've learned. When you hear all those things, you want that emotion. I don't want scripted singing. I want to feel like you're coming straight from the heart. And so that energy you're talking about, Monet Love, I totally agree. I think she should fire that guy. I mean, I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but she with the wrong guy if he's going to tell her don't convey your emotions.
Oh, there's no such thing as being harsh, because really.
Well, he didn't go that far. He was just saying he didn't want her breaking down on the recording. He wanted her to feel it, but he didn't want her to go that far.
Oh, breakdown is the best thing. I mean, some of the greatest musicians in the world have done that. Even live in concert, they've broken down on stage.
Well, that's the best place to do it.
Man, that's, I mean, right there. I don't care. Live performances to me is what sells records. I'm not saying go and do a whole European tour or city tour or nothing like that, but when I see somebody live and then I hear the record that, you know, recorded, it's just like two different animals. They're two different animals. But if you can capture that on a record, oh, hands down. That right there, we get it.
I guess it depends on the measure. I wasn't there, so I guess it depends on the measure of the emotion that she was, you know, conveying in the studio. It may have been something that he thought wasn't necessary. I can get it from that point, but to say, you know, I don't want to hear the emotion or anything like that, that doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, he didn't say that. He just implied that, you know, in fact, she came in and he said, well, you really got emotion that time, but it was almost a little sarcastic.
Oh yeah, but that kind of kills a person's confidence. Then they go to start thinking too much.
Yeah,
you know?
And then he had to record a couple of more times, and I didn't feel much after that. You know, I was not I was not there to contradict the producer, so I didn't. But he's got I think about 7 tracks he's going to comp. And it'll be interesting to see what that sounds like when he's finished mixing it, and if he did keep any of that. And if I get that recording, I'll try to get a file and play it for you all on another Hangout.
It would be crazy if he didn't capture any of that raw emotion. I mean, to me, if you're gonna comp like that, you want to get the best emotional parts. I don't want the things that sound so pretty and so sweet and so on key and this. I want that thing that it sounded like it could have been off, but it was dead on because of the emotion that was conveyed. One thing Robert did say about like Michael Jackson, when he was when they were younger at the Jackson 5, and he was in the studio, and he said, "Just look over your shoulder, honey," and he said it so wrong, but he was like, "Don't you dare touch that," because he might not have said the word right, but that emotion that he captivated and he portrayed on that album was perfect. So you can't sometimes, as an artist, you can't always let these producers, and we had this on a few hangouts before, Mont was saying this before, he was like, some producers are so mechanical that they're stuck in their own ways and they want to make you that way. Don't be afraid to sometimes challenging them. So like, okay, I hear it your way, let's try it my way too. And then let's, you know, we'll compromise. But sometimes some producers, boy, they can be so bullheaded and just want you to go just straight to the mark, and like they want you to hit that bullseye every time, but then you're focusing on that bullseye and not the emotion.
Another great example would be Toni Braxton when she recorded "Breathe Again." I love the example that they gave with that baby face. They had her do the take once or twice, and she got toward the end of the song, and it happened to be the greatest moment in the entire song, even though the entire song is phenomenal. When you hear her do that little at the end of the song, she was being emotionally sarcastic, but she was tired. But that emotion was so great that they couldn't take that out. And so what I'm saying is there are those moments in a song, and I want to apologize for saying he should have been fired, because obviously he's a great producer. I want to apologize for saying that. He has the potential to put on 7 tracks on the album, then he's got to be great. But my thing is, all I'm saying is those emotional moments, you got to really listen to them before you can say, okay, well, let's not, you know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you how it happened, because you were wondering about, you know, you weren't there, you don't know what to judge. What happened was, he didn't really want me to talk much, but he was going to record her again, and I said, okay, hold on just a sec. And I said to her, I said, okay, what is this song about to you? Because I had never done any pre-production, and I could definitely tell the producer wasn't, didn't want me to take over the session. So I just simply said, what does this song really mean to you? What is it really about? And then she said, it's all about love. And that's the take she cried on.
Wow. Like I said, I wasn't here, so I can imagine.
Your voice going from deep to that Michael Jackson, that's entertaining in itself. The thing, okay, like Brad, when it is like when we talk about Brad, it's vocal pre-producer. Producer is in there, and so if Brad comes into a session, some of the things he does is it's producer stuff, and a producer may actually get mad and shut down and not want to hear anything, because some of the stuff the choices where Brad's doing stuff is actually producer stuff, and that's the whole point, vocal pre-producer. But so now when you're in a session, like me, I can't sit here and say that producer was wrong or anything like that, because I'd actually have to know what the intent of that song was, what they were really trying to accomplish.
Well, what she was trying to accomplish was the feeling of love.
Okay.
That was what she wanted.
Right. And then there's her and the producer being on the same page. Like when you guys get with producers, there's got to be a thing where you get on the same page. Because if the producer's trying to go right and you're trying to go left, you might do the most outstanding take and it get deleted.
Yeah.
You be ready to stab somebody. So you've got to find there's a relationship thing where if you're just paying a dude and you say, look, just do what I want you to do and do it my way, and they do it, okay, that's one thing. But like even then, when I work with artists, if we're not on the same page, I'll be sitting there and I'll say, look, you just broke down and started crying. Look at how everybody's feeling. I said, even your mama's feeling this. Look at your mama. Baby, that's it. No, mama, I don't want people to see me crying. That messes with my image. You know? So people have to be on the same page, and people have to learn what is actually valuable. Like there's a taste thing, and then there's things, again, like people's image. And I have no idea what this producer was trying to put forth as an image. And when we start getting into production and engineering and all this, we can go off onto this real nerdy stuff to where we lose focus on what this stuff is. For about 5 years, emotion was not in my vocabulary. I was trying to get technical stuff down, and I was getting everything to be pristine and dope. And then when I was done, I said, okay, I know how to present stuff on a silver platter. Now I need something to present on a silver platter, which is where I started getting into the emotional stuff. And that producer,
I've never asked you, Ma, what recording school did you go to?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I've never been to a recording school. The most that I've done,
neither, Matt.
The most I've done as far as getting trained by anybody is I was in Virginia, and I asked a fella, a good old country boy, he had did some work. We were doing some work. It was Def Jam's. Who came out with I Can Give It To You, but what you gonna do with it? Before that guy, I forget his name, before he had a hit, there were workups being done with him, and one of the guys who started off training me then on the EPS 16 sampler, and then I turned around and started training him. He asked me to come bring my equipment in and help him, and there's this white guy doing the work, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, this guy is dope. So I asked him how much would it cost to, do a session with him, and he said his block rate was for 10 hours, $250. So I bought a block rate and said, I brought in a garbage song and said, I want you to show me everything that you're doing. That's all I'm here to do is learn from you. He cheesed big, and he showed me. 2 months later, I came back and did it again. I wanted the exact same thing. And he brought his wife in and look, he's paying me to show him what I know, and then after that, it was Groove 3 tutorials and multiplatinum.com tutorials, and a couple of other places. Flux has some where I just took tutorials and went to work and started experimenting. And Kenny Joya's tutorials at groove3.com were a huge help. But I started experimenting is what it is. Because a lot of the guys in the industry will tell you they were telling stuff and it wasn't working. And there was stuff that wasn't in the books, and people said, oh, there's no secrets. Garbage. There's stuff that's not in books that people are not telling. And so I started experimenting, and I would contradict what people would say, and everybody would say, you have no platinums behind you or whatever. Yeah, that's cool, but try A, B, C, D, and here's the results. And that's how I, developed my name is I'll just prove it to you. Or, If I say something and you can duplicate it, that means it works. And so anyway, that's what it is, Brad. It's determination. I don't have teachers. I'm just now getting where I have people mentoring me and helping me out, like you, Brad. That's a new phenomenon for me. And even still, I'm busting my butt to learn stuff beyond what you and everybody else teaches me. But now back on this producer. It's like we have to listen to the song, see what all fits, and when Brad walks in, he's a threat to a lot of producers. Some people would just not even want him there at all.
Right.
But we're all at different paths in our lives, and as you get with each producer, you really gotta find out. You have to know where you are, what you want, find out where they are, let them know what you want, and get on the same page before you record that song, or else it can be hell. And I have sat right there with engineers. I'm in the studio. The drummer starts feeling it. The engineer presses stop. He decided he was going to be the producer also, and told the drummer that he was off. And the whole thing, he destroyed the whole band's feel. The whole session, the engineer was destroying what these guys really were about, and what they represented, what they were about, and what they were trying to do. And it was driving them crazy, and that happens all the time. So like I said, you've got to get the right relationship with somebody. I argue with singers all the time, and I put singers through hell. And the bottom line, when I'm done with singers, they end up growing. It's very frustrating, because if I know that we're about to spend 6 months on something that's not going anywhere, I'm going to try to stop it, do some training, and then we see the results. And it's a painstaking thing, but singers end up, in the end, appreciating it. But the struggle, as we say out here, the struggle is real, getting singers to actually do what's best for them. And okay, watch this. The look on your face when I asked you about that Jesus moment, that Yeshua moment, the look on your face was priceless. You did not, I know he is not asking me this live on air. That's a vulnerable thing. I stopped you, but that's a vulnerable thing, and people don't, it's a struggle to get people to, trust and do stuff. So if I ask you to trust me as an audience member, another thing I got from Brad is the producer being an audience member. If I ask you to trust me being your audience member where you don't worry about how you sound or whatever, let me do that, then when we play it for people, if they react positively and I get a track record of them reacting positively, over time, you start trusting me more and more. We'll get into situations. You'll be like, I don't know, Mod, but you've been right all these times. I'm going to go with you. You go with me. And then, but that's what it is. Over time, we learn about each other, and it's a relationship thing. So you might have to go through a bunch of producers to find out what's what, but don't let your hard-headedness, if you have it, don't let that interfere. Like, have a goal and go for that goal. And if that producer's right about that goal, submit. If he's right, if you're right, he needs to submit to the truth about that goal. So if in that moment with Brad, if in that moment, well, you see, you're not the producer, so it's like you gotta let it go. But yeah, Brad, a lot of us producers, we don't know, bro. We don't know if we destroy songs, flat out. No offense, but we screw up.
I'm not. A client told me about this a long time ago, so I don't know exactly where it is, but apparently there's a little documentary of, damn it now, got to remember, what are they? Goo Goo Dolls. And, the Goo Goo Dolls are a band, but, there's a lot of attention around the singer. Because he does a lot of really neat guitar tunings that no one's ever heard and things like that. Anyway, this documentary showed him coming to the studio to track. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with practicing in a recording studio as long as you remember that's what you're there for. You're just trying to learn the ropes, But this was a real tracking session, what was explained to me. And the engineer said, I can do it even though the producer isn't here. Because the producer hadn't gotten there yet. So, I don't know the name of the guy, the Goo Goo Dolls, but what happened was, according to the story, was he said, okay, all right, well, we'll try it. And the engineer was doing all those wrong things that Mott was just explaining. And the guy from Google Googled it, said, "Fuck this, I'm out of here. I'm waiting for the producer. You are really screwing me up, man." And this is a guy with lots of recording experience. You know, this wasn't just some new kid off the block who didn't know what to say. He knew how his producer treated him, and he knew what the results were going to be when his producer worked with him. So he knew what was wrong about how the engineer was trying to record him. And it's unfortunate that the schools, that's one of the reasons I asked you if you'd gone to a school or not. I don't think the schools even talk about this for the recording guys, from what I've seen.
I have no idea. But I was, a couple of days ago, Green Day came on the radio, and I was listening, and I thought, okay, this is complete garbage. They actually got away with this. This dude cannot sing. And the person next to me was jamming. They were sitting there, and I'm looking at this person like, you know this person can't sing, right? And the person started explaining to me that, look, this is grunge, and there's the feel, the culture, you know, skateboard and this and that, and I had to submit, because hip-hop, you know, me being from the hip-hop culture, how my parents and everybody was looking at us. But I never realized how much this person couldn't sing, and I remember trying to figure out what it was that made grunge different. That grunge was just rock to me, but this time it sounded like an utter mess to me. And this person was caught up into it, and the person next to me was caught up into it, and it was not because this person was a great singer, not even close.
Well, to him he was, and there's a phenomena that I didn't learn until I actually could produce perfect pitch with my voice. You know, in other words, actually hit the note right on, like, you know, and know that I hit it right on. There's, you know, the Beatles were a quarter of step flat most of the time. I didn't know that.
Was that because of the tape
No,
that they were using, and it changed the pitch, or that was them?
No. See, they were untrained singers, and they were yelling, and they were, you know, but you know, they trained a genre to love that little off pitch. Elvis was more on key, and they were the next big phenomenon. And ever since then, there are other genres that are even more off key, and grunge is one of them. And so what happens to the audience is their ear. If you say to that person, and I've done this accidentally and lost a client, I said, "Oh, your favorite singer sings off key," and they went, "They do not. They're perfect. They're right on absolutely everything." I said, okay. I learned from that. There are people who if you took that same great Green Day song and brought somebody in and re-recorded it perfectly on pitch, the audience that bought the original recording would hate it. They would think it was an awful thing they ever heard.
Right.
It's like the mind is like doing that relative thing, you know, like, well, this is what I like, so it's right. Even though we could prove objectively that it's flat and it's a mess, they've grown up liking that.
The followers of that genre consider that to be standard.
Yeah.
And we know that it's pretty much garbage.
Now, Motown, there's Motown songs where they're off pitch, all kinds of stuff that I've seen people who hear perfect pitch just go batty and hate it. So I understand, you know.
All right. Anything else, you guys?
This has been great. That's all I got to say. I really enjoyed this one today.
Yes,
you,
me too.
You're like a fan of mine. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah.
All of you guys. I really appreciate these. You know, we're always right on the same subject. This is amazing.
Well, Brad, I follow a lot of your blogs, Brad, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's a good one." The last one you put up, I was like, "Wow."
Was that in-ear monitors or?
Yeah, the in-ear monitors. I was like, yes. A lot of people don't understand about those inner ear monitors because What's so tricky about those two, Brad, that I found out when I've used them is that sometimes they don't know how to channel them incorrectly.
What do you mean by you mean in the mix?
Yeah, in the mix. Like
Oh.
one time I had one in where the bass was just blaring in my eardrums so badly that I was like, okay, forget this. I had to literally take one out just so I can balance out the sound in my ear because I was like trying to explain to him, I can't, stop the show. I'm like, hey, can you turn on the bass in my ear, But it's like really important to have an engineer who understands that.
Yes.
And to make sure that it's right because, boy, I'm telling you, you can go deaf from them things if they're not mixed properly.
Well, the in-ear monitors companies, they mostly market live engineers. That's their biggest market.
Right, and so when you get somebody who's running the soundboard who really doesn't know anything about that, yeah, it was just god awful. I was like, dude, do you not understand what a mix is on my ear set? And he was like, well, all I know is just push the sound up or down. Why are you even up on here? I was so upset about that club that they just hired basically some kid off the street to, just do anything. I was like, they mic the instruments all wrong. It was just a big old mess. And I was like, yeah, see, that would never happen again. But I understood about what you were saying, especially as a singer, having the inner ear monitors. It helps you to hear yourself. So because when you're singing, it's so loud on the stage. So if you're yelling, everybody out in the audience is going to look like that was god awful. But in your head, you're thinking that you sounded, wonderful because you're trying to get the sound out, loudly so everybody can hear you. But it's really coming off as like a high pitched screech, or you're screaming at somebody. So it was just awful.
You got it. Thank you. Now, you remember the part where you can set up your own monitor?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. That's a lot of singers, and I'm not calling you one of them because I have no idea, but a lot of singers are very lazy about things like, having their own mic or having their own ear monitors or learning the simplest basics of how to run a board or whatever. But if you take the time and just get yourself a little mixer, and some of the inner monitors, and I don't know if yours has one, has actually a hole in it that can let you hear the stage sound.
Uh-huh.
And then you're just mixing your voice by itself with what you hear from the stage sound.
Yeah, it has it on there. Since then I've become a lot more familiar with my inner ear sets that I have. So, good. And that was the thing I did too, was I got this app on my iPad that syncs with my ear monitor. So I can control it right there on the stage. So the last time I used it, it was awesome. So I was like, yeah. So I was like, I don't need you to do that. I can do it myself. And just sat right there and just kind of plugged it in, and it was really awesome. So I would tell all of you guys that are here right now, definitely invest in ear monitors because they are the best thing ever. Okay,
that's something you said really good. I want to get written down here. What is the name of the app?
God, let me. And of course, my iPad would happen to be dead. But I can do it real quick. And here, mixer, iPad. It's an inner ear mixer. It is the Q-Mix Monitor Mixer.
How do you spell the first word?
It's PreSonus. So PreSonus.
U.S. Okay. Yeah, I've seen the company. Yeah.
And then Q-Mix.
Q.
Yep. The letter Q. M-I-X.
Just the letter. Okay. Just the letter Q.
Yep. And then it says the monitor mixer.
Monitor.
Monitor mixer. So it's for the iPhone or iPad.
Excellent. I will spread the word.
Yes, I'm telling you that.
I think I said it in the article, but this has been a what do you call a craw in my throat since the mid-1980s when I actually started working with people who were singing live, and I'd hear them in my studio singing very well, and then they'd invite me out to a loud show, a live show, and I'd go, "What the hell is that?" You know, there. It says, I think it says that in the blog. It's like, who are you? You know, you're out of key. You're not even close to being on pitch. What happened? So I started asking questions, and they said, well, I don't get it. I thought it sounded great. I said, well, you know, because I've been performing with electronic equipment since I was 12. So, could you hear yourself? They said, oh, you know what? No, I couldn't hear myself. But I thought I was doing great. And so I just started doing some experiments and stuff, and I'm embarrassed to tell you that I sang with bands for many years without even having a monitor. I just can't imagine what the audience is hearing.
I said there's one more too for those who don't have like iPhone and stuff. There's one for the Android, what is called the mixing station. That one works as well.
Mixing station, and you said something right after that I missed.
Oh no, that's what it's called, just mixing station for like those who don't have iPhone. They can get that for Android.
All right, that's really cool.
Yeah, so I wanted to give you both options. I had to look up the other one too real quick.
Yeah, because I'm an Android user, so that would be great for me.
Okay, well you definitely want to look at mixing station.
Yeah, one thing, and I don't remember if I mentioned in the blog, some people don't need it. You know, if you're an acoustic guitar player, you know, you can buy a Bose system with a 360 degree or the 180 degree audio path, and you can put them behind you or right next to you, and you can hear yourself just clear as a bell, and so can the audience. And they don't feedback very much because of this 180 degree phenomenon. Actually, the first time I heard of it was in the late 80s, and it was called the Dawn sound system. So it looked like the dawn. And that's, instead of, most speakers send sound out like this. Starts in the center and then pans out. This one sends it out like this. So all the sound is coming toward you, and what happens is the microphone doesn't pick up as direct of a sound from the speakers, and you can turn them up louder. But if you're with a band, that won't work.
Imani, do you play any instruments?
I don't.
Okay, do you have access to anybody who makes beats where they could make beats for you?
I do, but I don't. I say no.
It would be good if you could find somebody who could at least, even if they can't do a whole lot of musical stuff, I'd say actually cool, you become the music and you do most of the parts with your vocal. It'll help you become more of a musician, and then you can always tell a guitar player, hey, this is your part right here, and then you give if the guitar player is actually talented, you can give them some space and they'll do even better than what you did, and it'll surprise you. But if you could somehow make it to where you could record yourself and get a basic beat going based off of your groove, and then you create your songs. Music can be created according to you. They can always, you can give it a producer later, and a producer could create the music according to what you've recorded, according to your voice. And that's a whole different experience, a whole different sound than when you're restricted to a beat.
Okay.
Yeah, because real musicians, I'm not a musician, but I can play sequence for sequence, playing my chords and playing on my instrumentation. I pretty much learned on a Reason 4 program, which still works for me to this day, to be honest. And my friend Greg McPhee, and I have a couple other musicians who are great musicians. I asked them to take the ideas that I've given them and go with it, because I know they're great musicians and they will embellish the sound that I'm looking for. And so so you can get to the point like Mott was saying, where you could play your idea, then you can let the musicians that you get acquainted with embellish your ideas and bring it to life, so that your vocals will stand out and marry that idea.
Okay.
There's a video on the Funk Brothers, who were Motown's musicians.
Standing in the
Some
shadow.
yeah, somebody would walk in with a partial melody, partial, and just start humming it, and then the Funk Brothers would just start playing with it, and you got yourself a song.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how it was. Like it's a whole different experience. But you would walk in and they would vibe off of you, and you would end up having a song by the time the day's over.
Michael Jackson did that a lot.
Yeah. It's an experience. My Brad?
Most session players have to be able to do that nowadays. They don't see written music very often anymore, and if they do, they kind of ignore it and just listen to the producer and what he wants and what the feel is he wants, and then they give it to him. If they don't give it to him, they don't get called back.
Right.
So it's their livelihood on the line every time that somebody comes in and asks them to do something. And just like I've taught you guys and Imani to kind of sometimes decode what certain producers do, they have to have that ability too, because they're being paid by the hour. They can't, get in the producer's face and say that won't work. So if the producer says, I want purple pink polka dotted pants, they've got to make it sound like that, or they don't get hired again. And you'll notice that most commercials now are artistic. They're not like the old ones where they were canned. They're pretty artistic.
I love you guys. I got to get ready to go down here. It's family time. I got to get down here before my family goes on strike on me down here. So I love this session. Mott, Brad, Monet, Ebony, Imani. Keep on growing, baby, and you'll shine, okay?
I will. Thank you so much.
And have a great day.
Bye, Robert.
Thank you for letting us borrow him.
All right, guys.
All right, take care, bro. Yep, I got to call it a day, too. So is there anything from you guys?
We covered a lot of shit.
Yeah, we did. This was the best one yet. I enjoyed myself. And you, Imani, definitely, I appreciate you for coming on and lending your talent to us today and taking the positive, constructive criticism, because it's only to make you greater.
I really appreciate it.
And it was positive. No one was critical of anything. It's the way it should be. Definitely the way it should be.
Just keep doing what you're doing, lady.
I will. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right.
Hey, Mott. So I'll see you Thursday and Fridays at certain times that I can come over.
Okay. Yep. Brad's one of the mentors at the event that we have coming up. Again, it's time for us to meet face to face, create songs from scratch, record and produce them on the spot, and have mentors in there working with us.
Yes, I wish I could be there, but unfortunately I'll be in Texas for a funeral, so.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm all the way out here in New York for the summer, so.
You're in New York, I'm in Minnesota, so.
See, the first time when me and Monet met, I'm on my way down there, Prince dies, and she's from out there, lives in Minneapolis, so she's getting all these phone calls and stuff, and then on this event that's going down, here's another funeral. This year, 2016, is the year of death. Like Muhammad Ali just died, and I've already been to 3 funerals this year. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, you know what? I'm not liking this, not one bit. But I know we're not built to last forever. But can we get, can I get a break in between? That's all I'm asking.
Mhm.
Well, publicity always expands things, so, one star dies and you think 200 of them died.
Yeah.
You kind of have to keep that in mind, that, there's a lot of stars that are still living, and they're still touring.
Right.
We don't hear about them anymore, but they're still alive and they're still kicking and they're still touring. And they haven't had a hit record for 30 years, and they're still touring their little butts off.
See, that's what I'm talking about, longevity.
Yeah.
Longevity and creativity.
Yep.
Never do the same show twice.
Yep.
I love those type of musicians.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So Ma, would you message me the address of the studio?
Yes, I'll message the address and the times.
Okay.
And yeah, not a problem. And we're done. We're out.
Okay.
Everybody, y'all have a nice day, everybody. This
See
is
you
an
next
awesome
time.
session. Imani, nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
Monet Love,
Yes, yes.
say hello to the mister for me.
Will do. And Maud, I was thinking one time we should really try to do a hangout where we actually create something live, man.
That's exactly what's coming. Yeah, that's exactly what's coming.
Make sure you put me on that joint because I'm going down with you.
Okay, that's exactly what's coming. There's a Google document. The Google Docs make it to where we can share this document amongst ourselves, where everybody signs it, and when we go to create something, everybody in the Hangout owns it. So because
Okay.
these are not being done to where, oh, this is my song. No, this is where we get on here, we learn, we grow, and we do stuff live in front of people. And
Yeah.
if anything comes of anything, all of us own it. I don't even want that to be a focus at all.
Right.
This is for us to grow and share and let people see us succeed and fail live in person in front of everybody.
Exactly. I mean, I am very looking forward to because I mean I have so many ideas that run through my head, especially with the people that we have been doing the hangouts with. Man, it could be bananas. So I know that. I mean, in a good way though, in a very good way. And you, young lady, you definitely need to be on that.
Yeah, you should participate in this stuff, Imani.
I
And
will.
another thing we're going to do is I'll bring rappers on who have lyrics where they're not cussing or saying a bunch of offensive stuff. They're saying just simply intelligent stuff, and have singers sing the rapper's words, where the rapper gets an experience. Like if you have 3 different singers sing the rapper's words in their own way, it's an eye-opening thing.
Great idea.
We've been doing it for a while, and it's an eye-opening thing. And normally when a rapper writes something for a singer, it ends up being the stupidest, non-understanding, blatant but if once rappers start experiencing where they write something intelligent and a singer takes it and elevates it, rappers can then start. I've seen this. Rappers start feeling like, whoa, I could actually write a real song with a singer. Because when they start thinking about singers, they start trying to write for singers, and it just goes all bad. But
Well, you know, Drake, he's just doing it with auto-tune.
yeah, we don't exactly consider Drake singing, but I got you.
Right.
He's doing his thing. Props to him. But yeah.
Yeah, I know. He's making tons of money. I've got a couple of...
And he has an producer engineer with him, Noah Shabib. 40 is awesome. Like 40's of the right mentality, and he's doing a great job. And speaking of vocals, like 40 moves everything out of the way of Drake's vocals. That's why it's all so dark like that. He's keeping everything out so that Drake could affect you emotionally, and the ladies are loving it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
So-
there's a... I'll give you one more website, and then we'll call it. Google how to sing like your favorite artist. And
Really?
it's actually comedy. And this guy makes fun of all kinds of different styles of singers and rappers and stuff. It's hilarious.
Oh, he's got a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. Yep. It's really funny, especially to those of us who actually know what's going on. It's really, really funny.
Oh yeah, I might have to check that out.
Okay,
All right.
Lonnie, I hope
I'll
to see
see
you
it.
soon. I would just love to work with you someday, Monet, if that ever comes up.
Oh, it will. Trust me, I will. When there's a will, there is a way, and I will make that way, Brad. Especially with
Okay.
you. Oh, most definitely.
Hey,
I
Brad.
have to make it work.
This
It's
Brad,
okay.
this event that I went to with Monet, we're out there, and these dudes, and I'm like, what is she doing? She's over there softly singing in this dude's ear, and like making these dudes fall in love with her, and it's like they gonna line up or something to have her sing to them. I'm like, oh, y'all tripping.
Brad, it was quite the event. I was like, every time I turned around, it was just like, can you sing for me? Like, this lady literally had, like, her aunts and uncles and everybody there, and it was like, will you just sing to us? And I'm like, okay. So I started singing to them, and they all looked at me like, why are you here? Like, we know why you're here, but why are you here right now? And I was like, you guys, it's all in fun. And they was like, well, where are you from? I said, Minnesota. And they was like, you're from Minnesota? Oh, I'm sorry to hear what happened to you, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine, but I'm pretty sure he would want me to be here to keep me. Yeah. It was quite the adventure, wasn't it, Mark?
Yeah, and
I think that's great.
I've got a picture of her singing to this one dude. This dude's having an orgasm. That was funny. Like, stuff.
Oh, you know he became our biggest fan.
We are a trip. We're a trip, Imani.
Yeah, together, me and Mom together. Oh gosh, we are a hilarious riot in public. I tell you, I was like, Mom, I see what you mean now. He was like, no, you hang right with me, so we're good. And I'm like, I was like, yeah, he's a ball of fun to be with. I really enjoyed myself with you, Mott, and I can't wait to come back out there. I'm trying to come back out there probably in August. So, Brad, if you're not too busy, I'll definitely be there around that time.
Oh, I'll make time for you.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait.
Because you know a lot already, and you've got a lot of chops already, and as you improve, you just make me look better and better.
Well, it's because of you. You're teaching me so much, and I mean, God, when you have somebody who's worked with as many people as you have, you can't help but to take it all in. So everything you've taught me, Brad, I've taken it in, and I've, applied it, daily. And even from this session, I'm gonna, now I'm gonna be sitting back here going gaga to a lot of the songs I've written just to see how they sound.
Well, thank you. Mott's responsible for these hangouts, and we owe him a lot.
Yes, I told Mott a million times over, I go, man, I truly appreciate you. I was like, I don't even know how this even came about and how I just stumbled upon one of your hangouts, and then next you know I'm in them, and I've learned so much, and I've grown so much, and meeting so many new people. It's been an amazing journey, and I want to definitely continue this with you, Brad, and you, Mott. I mean, I speak highly of you guys no matter where I go. And they're like, you don't know Brad Chapman. And I'm like, no, I do. And they're like, oh, you're just full of it. I was like, no, I promise you. Google it and you'll find out for yourself. And they're like, oh my God, she really does know Brad Chapman. So, Imani,
I didn't know I was that big a celebrity.
Oh, in Minnesota? God, in Minnesota, you are very well talked about in Minnesota. So a lot of people thought I was blowing smoke up there with him. I'm like, yeah, I hang out with him with Brad, and they're like, you're full of shit. And I'm like, no, I promise you, like, he talks to me just like he would talk to anybody else. And it was like, he's a platinum pre-producer, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that's my homie.
I'm a homie, all right.
I've been slacking on the hangouts. I was doing quite a few, like all the time, and I have so much going on. When I stepped away from my crew, I've got so much going on now, and like this thing with Brad he's about to come and be one of the mentors. I'm trying to get people face to face. The hangouts are one step, and I'm trying to get people face to face where we're doing stuff. And also, Imani, we have hangouts that are not on air where everybody sees. We have all kinds of private hangouts that we do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm big on songwriting and songcraft right now, like things that help songwriters have more options.
Yes.
And that's where my head is right now, is songwriting and producing. And so most of my conversations are about that. A couple of years ago, it was all about engineering. And now people that know me from the engineering side, they're like, bruh, you never post anything about engineering. I couldn't care less about engineering because number one, I know how to engineer. Number two, I have so many engineering friends. I can simply pass the stuff off to them if I want it. We need songs that are written that are worth it, and then we need performances that are worth it. And so that's where my head is right now, is going for that.
And I'm riding that wave with you, brother, because I mean, there's so many beat makers and not enough creative writers, and that's how I look at it. And everybody gets the two mixed up, Ma. They think because they can make a beat that they're a songwriter, and it's just like, no.
They also think they're producers too.
Exactly, Brad. Exactly, and it's just like, no, you can't wear too many hats, man, and pick the wrong one and think you call it the right title. I mean, a beat maker is a beat maker. A producer is a producer. Do not mix the two, and a lot of people do that. They're like, oh, I'm a producer. So I was like, okay, so how would you produce me? Oh, well, I'm starting with the snares, and then come out. See, no, you're talking beatmaker language to me. Well, what do you mean? You don't know? I don't? Okay, I don't. Well, apparently I don't know what I'm talking about, so I can tell you right now, you won't be producing me, but you can create a beat all day long. You know, I'll let them know in a minute. If you can't tell me how to convey an emotion on a track, that's what producers do. They get you to give the energy that and bring that whatever that beat is to life. And it was like, oh well, no, I guess I don't do that. My point exactly. So don't come to me and tell me you're a producer, because then I'm gonna turn around and tell you, well, I can be my own producer, because I know exactly how I want to convey the emotion across the track, not a beat. I can't control the emotion of the music of the musical instruments, how the drums should sound, or 808 or whatever. I can control vocally how I want you to feel. If I want you to feel angry, that means I gotta portray it angrily across this track. The beat can be something so simple. It can be just rhythmic, just like this. But if I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, you're gonna be like, dang, she is angry, you know? But I can go into that, forever, because you guys have taught me so much on that. But, Imani, just to kind of give you the insight that they really do educate you. It's not just, telling you what to do, but they're giving you advice and wisdom on how to perfect your craft.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Mott, we'll wrap it up, and I'll see you soon, Imani.
All right, I'll see you soon.
All right,
Okay, Imani, nice talking to you. Bye, Brad, and bye, Mott.
Bye.
all right, y'all take care.
You too.